catastrophe which has come to New South Wales, and we're stepping up to make sure we provide that support.
We have made a number of decisions to do whatever it takes, to do whatever it costs, to meet those needs, to build our resilience for the future. This is about collaboration. This is about getting results for the people that have been impacted by this directly and indirectly.
18 months after the Black Summer bushfires, cafe and gallery owner Marco Carrigan is still waiting for the government support communities like this were promised.
When I designed this whole property in the first place, I had bushfires very strongly in mind. I did it as a refuge for myself as much as for the community, knowing that it would be the safest place in this district.
A long-time resident of Dargan, on the edge of the New South Wales Blue Mountains, Mark applied for state grant funding to fireproof his property and get some financial support after the Black Summer and then COVID battered his business.
The funding was to cover finishing the glazing here, putting what they call flame zone shutters around the outside of the concrete deck up above us here, which would come down deck level here. Just a few backup services so as a place can be really used as a refuge for 50, 100 people easily. I'm still waiting to hear back.
Earlier this year, he applied for a $700,000 grant from the $250 million Bushfire Local Economic Recovery Fund.
Sort of half waiting and hoping that some of this money will come through. I mean, after 6 months, I am sort of that close to going broke anyway.
After missing out on other bushfire grants, he's pinning his hopes on being one of the successful recipients announced this month.
The email I got back in April said they had applications amounting to 1.6 billion, but there's only 250 million. So it's 6 times oversubscribed.
Delays in getting funds to those in need aren't the only problem with schemes like this one. How funds are awarded has also come under scrutiny. The majority of projects approved in the first round were in state Liberal or National Party seats, while the bushfire-affected Green seat of Ballina, the Labor-held Gosford and Blue Mountains electorates initially received no money from the scheme.
When you look at the list of local government areas that were impacted and those electorates that are tied to it, and off the RFS data, 90% of buildings damaged were destroyed in coalition seats. So I can't hide from that.
We're here to announce a new grant of $10,000 to businesses that have been impacted by the fires.
Other bushfire grants in New South Wales, jointly funded with the federal government, are now under a cloud. 730 can reveal 2 funds for small businesses affected by the bushfires, worth more than $230 million, have been plagued by allegations of fraud.
The New South Wales Government and the federal government are re-announcing the package to support small businesses that have been impacted by the fires.
The New South Wales Government rolled out a series of $10,000 and $50,000 grants to provide emergency support to small businesses. The agency in charge is Service New South Wales.
This is one of a series of grant schemes that were designed to help people after the bushfires so as they would have some money in their pockets, and particularly for small businesses to keep them afloat after the economic impact of the bushfires.
Thousands of applications were lodged, but unknown to Service New South Wales at the time, some were later found to be fraudulent.
But it turns out the money went from small businesses to pretty much anyone who asked.
Internal documents show a private contractor was brought in to advise Service New South Wales. The contractor found the agency had a limited and potentially non-existent ability to track fraud across a range of grant programs. The documents show the estimated size of the fraud was at least $17 million, with almost 1,700 fraudulent applications lodged as of October 2020. The system was so weak, one applicant lodged more than 200 applications worth more than $2 million and was paid $1 million.
They realised they didn't have the capacity in-house, so they brought in external consultants to try and understand the scale of the fraud. And once they came in, it was apparent that the scale of the fraud was vastly bigger than anyone would have feared.
Despite multiple assurances from Service New South Wales that a data matching system would be built to detect further fraud, an internal document shows the system has never been built and funding was not approved.
The government has a firm estimate of at least $11 million in fraud. That's money that's gone out the door. But if the full data matching was done, and if the integrity was put in place across all the systems, well, it's likely that the real scale of the fraud would be a multiple of that.
In a statement to 7:30, Service New South Wales said it continues to refine and review systems and processes to identify when fraud controls have been triggered. Like so many residents who lived through the Black Summer, Marco Carrigan just wants to get back to work.
A lot of people up here are suffering from really quite high levels of stress. And no doubt there's going to be another fire season up here, and will we be left without a refuge again?
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.